road to Rotterdam and the Artistic World Championships in October, our gymnasts are competing to prove their abilities and earn their place in the team. This weekend is no exception, with the British women taking on Romania. Following the recent European Championships, where the British women historically placed higher than the Romanians, the visiting team are sure to be looking for revenge. After day one here in Ipswich, the Romanian team did take the gold. However, Britain's Hannah Whelan was victorious in the all-around.
Obviously first time GB been it's Romania since Europeans, so it was good to see who's brought that little bit extra to try and beat, and everyone had a good competition since after coming back off holiday, and we did really well.
You put in a really strong all-round performance, proving that you are one of the best all-rounders in Britain following up from your recent British Championships. What have you been working on in between then and now?
I've actually been on holiday, had a bit of a rest down time, and then just building back on, just to see if I could do the same thing. I've not really changed anything, tried a few new connections on beam, but mostly just trying to tidy it up still.
Today we're going to see the apparatus finals, where 6 gymnasts will compete on each event to find the very best apparatus specialists. Just before the competition gets underway though, we've been talking to Andy Wood, the centre manager here at Piper's Vale, to ask what it's like to host an international event.
We actually hosted our first one in 2004 and we've done 8 since then, so 8 in the last 6 years, which is great.
And as well as managing this centre, I understand you're also the head coach of Piper's Vale Gymnastics Club. How much inspiration does events like this bring to the girls training here day in, day out?
And I think it's great for them to actually be able to rub shoulders with international superstars such as Beth and Hannah Whelan, those sort of people, but also the Romanians as well. And hopefully it'll inspire them, because they obviously get at close quarters seeing what they're doing, and hopefully inspire them to go further themselves.
You mentioned 2012 there as well. What are your hopes for that year? What contribution would you like to be able to make to that event?
Well, we've already got Brazil signed up to use our facility, men and women, but of course that will be dependent on qualification from the World Championships next year. And what we want to try and do is host as many internationals between now and then, for not just for us, but also for British Gymnastics, but also for the airports as well, because we've got a really good relationship with Heathrow and with Stansted now, where we can fast track all the gymnasts through and treat them as VIPs, which actually adds to their visit as well. So.
Thanks for that, Andy. Now it's straight over to the competition with our commentator for today, Sarah Jane Inglis. The first apparatus we're seeing is the vault, and the first gymnast up is Imogen Cairns.
So we've seen Imogen potentially preparing an extremely difficult vault. Let's see if she can pull it off today. A real crowd favourite. Huge height off the top, attempting the double twisting Yurchenko, and the judges are going to have to consider whether the twist was complete when she landed, and you'll see just took a lurch to the side now, indicating that perhaps she wasn't quite there.
Imogen, of course, is the reigning Commonwealth and British champion on this apparatus. I think she's been working on this vault for a couple of years, but that's the first time she's performed it in competition, and it's really great to see her giving it a go and this opportunity to have a go at it this time.
It certainly looked like it's something that she can keep working and that potentially she could bring out in major internationals to come. Focusing her attention now on just a couple of pieces of apparatus, and the vault definitely a specialism for her. So Imogen preparing for the second vault, strong attack run. And that time she used the Yurchenko entry that she's obviously comfortable with, half turn on to hit the vault forwards and a pike front somersault off. Very tidy, well performed vault.
She's used that entry for a number of years now, but I think that's one of the first times I've seen her use the pike front somersault. Is that a sign of her getting more power, or possibly looking to develop that vault further, do you think?
I think so. I think probably it's more likely that she'll be able to twist out of the vault, perhaps with the pike somersault. Certainly a tidier, more pleasing vault. So it's good to see that even perhaps in the later years of her career, she's still looking to add difficulty and improve her scores.
So next up we'll see the first Romanian competitor today in the form of Dana Andre. She's a really tiny gymnast, but let's see what she can do on the vault.
Had some very talented vaulters over the year, Romania, but perhaps it's not been the strength in recent years that it once was. Some of their gymnasts are very slight. You can see full twisting Yurchenko, managed to get the twist in relatively clean in the air, but not the lift. Having seen that straight after Imogen's vault, you can really see a difference in the height that she achieved.
She didn't seem to quite hold a straight shape all the way through the somersault either. Is that the kind of thing that judges can deduct for?
Yes, I think when we've seen the Romanians warming up, they've perhaps used a different technique on the straight, perhaps using the power that they've got in the fast twitch muscle rather than the actual strong approach run and block from the vault.
At 17 years of age, Daniela is a second-year senior, and she was in fact the bronze medalist at the 2009 Romanian Nationals. So let's see what she can do for her second vault.
And she repeated the same vault, so that will pick up a 2-mark penalty. However, the gymnasts today using this competition more for experience, seeing how they can perform under pressure, than perhaps being too concerned about the medal positions.
Next up on the vault, representing Great Britain, we've got 16-year-old Jenny Pinches. Although she's only a first-year senior, she's had a huge amount of international experience already, so this competition should be one she can take in her stride.
Yeah, Jenny always been one that's come through the age groups ever since she was a tiny girl, and always been a really exciting talent. And another one very popular with the crowd here, the young gymnasts that have gathered in to watch today's competition. And a very nice, clean, full twisting, straight Sukahara vault. Interesting to see a different approach to the vault.
Watching Jenny warm up, she was trying out the handspring tuck front half twist off the end, but she has previously gone for the 1.5 twist. What do you think she'll go for today?
I think, bearing in mind how the gymnasts are looking at this competition as one for experience, I think that she might be having a go, and she's getting some calm encouragement for her coach there, Amanda Redding. Now, of course, in the same training group as the great Beth Tweddle, so that can only be to her advantage. So let's see if she gives it a go. Powerful attack. Yes, it is the 1.5. Got it to her feet, slightly low on the landing, but I think we can forgive her that, given the difficulty of the vault.
Quite a big step to the side there on landing too. I'm assuming that's something the judges can deduct for, and stepping over the line as well.
Yes, the judges will be looking at the position of the body when she lands on the floor. If the shoulders are low, they can take either a 0.3 or a 0.5, depending on how severe they feel the mistake was. They'll also deduct for the step, and she didn't go outside the lines. You'll see the line judge there had to lift her flag. And of course, the reason that she went to the side would perhaps suggest that the vault was offline from the point when it left the vault. So a number of areas to pick up deductions, but we shouldn't let that take away from the difficulty of the vault and the fact that she managed to perform it successfully.
Next up on vault, representing the Romanians, we have Cerasela Petrascu. A relative veteran of the team, she's been in international competition for a long time. Her most notable result was probably the 2007 World Bronze Medal she took with the Romanian team. Since then, she's had a bit of a nightmare, fairly serious knee injuries that she's had to have a couple of operations for. She's also really well known for her flexibility, so perhaps not necessarily someone that you'd automatically assume was brilliant on vault.
No, I think that's right. The qualities that attracted her to the gymnastics world were her beautiful leaps and jumps on the beam, her flexibility and her artistry. So interesting to see that the Romanians have nominated to put her up here on vault. Perhaps as she's gained in maturity, that side of her work has improved. Let's see. Using the Yurchenko and the full twist. I think she had more lift off the top of the vault than her teammate, but perhaps a little bit of leg separation as she initiated the twist as well. So good clean vault. Cerasela, she'll just be happy to be competing again without too much injury. For her second vault. And it was almost a carbon copy of the first one.
So that's the second gymnast now to perform the same vault twice. Do you think potentially they're also using this to see how consistent the girls are, bearing in mind there's important team competitions later in the year?
I think that's probably right. Very few gymnasts now, particularly since the rules were changed about needing not only a different style of vault but a completely different entry. Fewer gymnasts are actually choosing to specialise on vault, and it's probable actually that the Romanians don't really have anyone in their squad at the moment that is doing that. And there's a lot of countries that find themselves in that position. So get the gymnasts out, see if they can perform under pressure twice, and just get them that exposure and experience.
And so the last British contender up in this final will be 16-year-old Jocelyn Hunt. Oh, sorry, 15. She's in fact the youngest British member on this team. Was a member of the European silver medal winning team earlier in the year, so let's see how she does.
Jocelyn really rose to that challenge earlier on in the year in Birmingham, and no doubt it will have given her a real confidence boost. Very tidy, full twisting Yurchenko vault, perhaps slightly bent arms on contact with the apparatus, but certainly not much for the judges to deduct while she was in flight.
That did look like a great vault, really good body position in the air and only a tiny step on landing, surely just a 0.1 deduction.
Yes, I don't think the judges have got very much to make a meal of on that one. Jocelyn, a very tidy gymnast, all of her work looks like it's had hours and hours of practice, and it isn't put out on the competition floor until it's absolutely perfect.
You mentioned there that Jocelyn was on the European team, and as a first-year senior that was quite a challenge for her. She's had to grow up very fast, if you like, in gymnastics terms, coming from the junior ranks and being put into senior international competition. How do you think the gymnasts bear up and learn from these experiences?
I think the team spirit that we've got now and the fact that the girls have known each other, probably been through several years of squad training sessions together, probably helps. But of course, when you're 15 years old and you're going out on a big stage, particularly such as the Europeans in Birmingham, the nerves are going to always be present, and nothing's ever going to take that away. But Jocelyn coped well, and that experience is going to always be invaluable and something she can build on. She's got many years of international competition ahead of her. The second vault, and again the Yurchenko entry, and again the full twist, and again the well-controlled landing. So already such a young age, Jocelyn showing that she's capable of consistent high-level performance.
That was a great vault for Jocelyn, and she can have a little bit of a rest now, as she's not on again till floor, so we'll see her later. The final gymnast in this event final is in fact the youngest gymnast in the entire competition, 15-year-old Romanian Raluca Haidu.
Raluca finishing third all around in the overall competition, which took place yesterday here. So already a good result under her belt. It's the full twisting Yurchenko, and there was a distinct pike down. I think that made that vault stand out, perhaps not for them better against some of the other vaults that we've seen, both from her teammate and some of the British girls.
Quite impressive flight for such a small gymnast though, and certainly a vault that remained on direction. She looked to be right in the middle of the lines.
Yeah, she definitely was. It didn't really seem as though she needed to change body shape at the end. Perhaps she just lost her orientation for a moment. It will be costly, but as you say, flight was good, entry was good, and generally it was tidy. Okay, so Raluca and her second vault. And this time she does attempt the double twisting Yurchenko. So perhaps that indicates why she wasn't so comfortable on her first vault. Touchdown with the knees, but good to see her attempting such a difficult vault.
Yeah, and this is a great platform for them to do it. They've got a relatively low and soft landing. She doesn't look particularly happy with her performance, but I'm sure she should be pleased just to have had a go, and I'm sure it's something she can practice and refine for use in the future.
So running through the results, we had equal gold medalists, both gymnasts from Great Britain, both scoring 13.938, Imogen Kearns and Jennifer Pinches. And picking up the bronze with 13.638 was Raluca Haidu from Romania.